Happy Friday. Sorry, it's in the time of winter where you're like sick but not sick. I also apologize if you can hear the water running in the background. My husband is taking a shower, so it is what it is. It's just the way that it goes. Living in a small apartment with someone else while you're trying to record, and that's okay. I thought that I would take you guys along for my day today. So Fridays are usually my like me days. So I actually work half days on Fridays. On those days, I stop work around like 12:30, and then I will go to a local like soup kitchen in my neighborhood. It's called a dropping lunch. So it's a free lunch for anyone who needs it. So I go there and I help serve the food. I also help just set things up and stuff. So I do the afternoon shift. The morning shift is usually for the people who are actually cooking the meals. We do usually cook all the meals on site unless we're getting catered. So I thought that I would take you guys along with me, show off some of my commute there, and then afterwards I was thinking of maybe hitting up some of the bookstores in the area. I still haven't done it yet. Usually when I'm done with volunteering, I kind of go straight home or I just hang out outside. But I don't know if you can see a little bit behind me. There's a lot of snow on the ground. We are fully in winter here in Toronto, and it's been a much colder winter. So I've stayed inside a lot, a lot more than I think is probably healthy. And I think that's why like I have a scratchy throat, my nose is inflamed because I'm stuck indoors with the heater on, breathing in stale air. So I think even if it's cold, it's good to get outside. So I think I'm gonna hit up a few bookstores in my neighborhood around the church that I'm going to be volunteering at and see if there's anything that I like. I might take some of the books that I'm going to be donating and donate them to one of the thrift stores in the area too. I have a little stack of books that I've just decided that I don't want. I can actually go over them with you if you'd like, just to kind of show you what I'm going to get rid of. So I have this stack of books that I'm going to be taking over to be donated. The first one is going to be American Psycho. This is my husband's copy. He said that he will never read this book ever again. I have no desire to read it either. I know that it's an amazing book, but it's just way too bloody and gory and gruesome and just like kind of disgusting, but well written, but it's just not my cup of tea. So I know I'm never going to read it. If he's never going to read it again, I think it's time to get rid of it. It's gonna be controversial. I'm gonna get rid of my copy of Fourth Wing. I did not like this book. I'm sorry, I just did not like it. I thought that it was just so cringy. It was so cringe. I did not enjoy Violet. There were some times where I did, but I don't know, it just felt kind of flat for me. And then also, I fucking hated the nickname Violence. Oh. Every time he called her Violence, I was like, that doesn't roll off the tongue. That's such a weird nickname to give somebody. And I just hated it. Were the sex scenes good? Sure. But I didn't like their romance at all. It felt very rushed, very lustful. It didn't feel like any real love was there. They didn't trust each other at all. Like, it didn't feel like enemies to lovers. It just felt like enemies to fuckers, honestly. Like, they were just fucking and they weren't really like falling in love. And just knowing the rest of the story, I'm not going to be reading this. I know that for a fact. So I'm not gonna be reading, still have a Red Iron Flame. I'm not gonna read our Onyx Storm. Like, this started and ended with Fourth Wing, so that's going to be going to the thrift store. And I'm sure that somebody will be super happy to pick this up. So gonna give this another life for someone else who will hopefully enjoy this. Another controversial opinion. I don't like Emily Henry's writing. Her writing, it's not that it's bad, it's just not for me. I'm not a huge romance person. I usually only do romance when I need to reach a reading goal and I'm doing it through audiobook and I want it to be super horny. I want there to be a lot more sex than there was in here, and this did not deliver for me, and I just did not really enjoy this book. It did what it needed to do. I read it during a vacation to Mexico, so it definitely caught the vibe of my trip, so that's good. But I'm never going to read this again. I probably will not read like any other Emily Henry books. They're just not for me. I'm just not a romance girl unless they're really gay and really horny. So this is also going to be going to the thrift store, and again, I'm sure that somebody will be very excited and very happy to pick this up, so I'm happy to give out my copy for someone else. And then I have Memoirs of a Geisha. I really enjoyed this book when I first got it used, maybe back in 2000 and what was it, maybe 15, 16? And I loved it, but then I realized that this is a white man that wrote the story and basically stole the story from a real geisha and like fabricated it, and just kind of, it just felt icky, and I don't think I'll ever read it. I tried reading it again, but it just, knowing all that stuff in the back of my mind, I was like, it's just not for me. So this will be going to the thrift store too. It is pretty worn in, but I know that I especially love when books are worn. I'm going to buy them used. So hopefully somebody will pick this up, maybe $1 or something. This book I read for a book club with some of my friends, and I literally could not finish this book. This was a DNF for me. It was so bad. It was a debut novel for somebody, and you can really tell that it was. The story didn't make any sense. It just fell flat for me. To make sure that people knew that it was 2008, she kept saying it's 2008 and Barack Obama is in office. That probably came up, I think I stopped reading maybe about like 100 and something pages in. I think that had come up probably 7 or 8 times. Did she say it was 2008 and Obama's in office or something along those lines? Like, girl, we got it the first time. You don't have to keep bringing it up. I understand, but like, it was just not for me. I did not like this book. It was really bad. But there were people in my book club that did enjoy it, but it was not for me. The story was not for me. And yeah, sorry, Nancy Johnson, but this was just not it. And then the last one, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. This was a gift from my mother-in-law to my husband. We both aren't the biggest Mark Manson fans. And it's just, I don't really want this on my shelf. That's kind of the only thing. I really don't want this on my shelf. I don't like it. And I'm never gonna read it. I don't think that I'm gonna get a lot of advice from this. Yeah, so that's gonna also go. So I'm gonna bring those books with me, drop them off at the thrift store, and give some life to them. This vlog is going to be my first vlog, really, so I hope that you like it and that you enjoy it, and let's go out in the world together. But before I do still have to work for my job, because I still have to. So I'm gonna be answering some emails, doing some work, nothing too big, so I think I can just like work on this chair and just do it on my laptop really quickly, and then we'll get ready to go out. But yeah, come along with me. angle? What? I'm trying out something because I think this might be the setup that I'm going to do for more of like my sit down talk videos. So I just wanted to test out what this angle looks like, and I don't know, I think it looks pretty nice, and you guys can see my bookshelf and see some of the books that I have here. I think one video I'll probably do a bookshelf tour just so you guys can see, but this room that I'm currently recording in is actually my library. So we have this area in my apartment that's technically a dining room, but I don't need a dining room. It's just my husband and I, and the max people that we host per week is like 5, 6. So people can eat on the couch. We have a table that seats 4. It's gonna be fine. But when I saw this room before we moved in, I was like, I know exactly what I'm gonna do with that room. It's going to be my library. It has always been my dream. I think it's every book girl's dream to have a library of their own. The Bell Library is like, ugh, everyone's dream. At least I think it's everyone's dream because it's my dream. So I turned this room into my library. And it's probably my favorite room in our apartment. I get to look outside. It's just so lovely. But yeah, I love my library. Anyways, end of rant. Today is Saturday. Yesterday, after I got home from going to the bookstore, I crashed. Volunteering there is incredibly fulfilling and I love doing it. It makes me feel both very good to go, but then also I get to interact with people. I work from home, so I don't interact with a lot of people all the time, so being able to go somewhere and people remember your face and say, "Hey Emily, how are you?" It's so small, but it's so needed, I think. Like someone who is pretty isolated a lot of the time, it's really nice to be able to have a place where people know you. Especially in the big city, you can kind of feel like a ghost because there's so many people around you, but you're just another face among the crowd. So having a nice place for you to be is really nice. I keep going on tangents, I'm so sorry. So yesterday when I got home, I was exhausted. So I took a little trip to Eddyville and relaxed and read my book. Oh, let me grab that. I am reading The Mark of Athena right now, and honestly, I have powered through this book so quickly in the past week. I only have like a little bit more than 100 pages left, so that's pretty awesome. I forgot how much I love this series. The first 2 books honestly are not my favorite. For this series, it is the sequel series to Percy Jackson, where it combines the 2 camps that are Greek, which Percy goes to, and then Roman, which one character that you're introduced to in the first book, Jason, they're split up from their camps and actually switched over because Hera is trying to bring the camps together to basically save the world. And the first 2 books are a lot of setup. You're meeting new characters, especially in the first book. I remember when it first came out, I remember cracking it open. I was like, where's Percy? Who's Jason? Who is Piper? Who is Leo? What is going on? What is happening? I don't understand. The Mark of Athena is the 3rd book in the series, and this is when things actually start kicking off. The 2 parties from the first 2 books have finally met up. Percy and Annabeth are reunited, and they're like hug and they're kiss, and just like everything about them is so great. I love Annabeth Chase so much. She's such a great character, and I have so much fun with her. So I'm very excited about getting through this book and continuing on with the series because now the action is like really picking up. But yeah, last night I just read and relaxed. Oh, let me also tell you what I picked up at the bookstore. After I volunteered, I went to Ben McNally Books, and it was the first time I've ever gone inside, and it was such a cute bookstore. I really didn't feel comfortable filming too much just because it was so quiet. It was just me, another woman who was shopping, and the girl who manned the teller. It was just so quiet. There was no music playing in the background either, so I just didn't want to film too much and just be rude. but I did pick up 2 books while I was there. First up, I have The Nightingale. I have been wanting to read this book for a really long time. It's definitely on my TBR for this year, other than the physical TBR that I have. Since I donated books, I felt like, okay, I think I can buy more, right? Because I got rid of some, so I can still fill it up with some new ones. But I picked up The Nightingale. I really don't know much about it. Surprise, surprise. Other than that it's about a family, I think sisters, but I hear nothing but good things about it, so I'm really excited to finally dive into this. And then to go off on my classical books that I want to read this year, I have Rebecca. This is recommended by Witty Novels on YouTube. I love her channel so much. I have become obsessed. I found her through Vlogmas this year. I loved her vlogs. I don't know, I just loved how authentic she was and how real she was. So then I watched everything that she's ever put out within the past 2 years. Like, I just dove in, and she has been keeping me company pretty much every single day. So if you haven't already followed her, follow her. Her vlogs and her reading vlogs are just so, so great. But she read Rebecca and she loved it. So, and the way that she explained the plot and what it's about really, really piqued my interest. So I'm excited to dive into this year too. So today, I have some holes at the library that I have to go pick up, so I might take you guys along with me to get them. It's the first time I've ever done a physical hold at the library, and it's gonna be a problem. Since discovering that, I'm gonna be able to order whatever books I want to. If I have to wait, that's fine. But to physically read a book, I much prefer than ebooks. I'll do it if I have to. I have an iPad to read on, but I just love physical books so much. Mostly because I get migraines really easily, so looking at screens a lot does not help. So when it's on paper, it's really nice, and I can read through even if I have a migraine. So I'm gonna go pick those up. It's some graphic novels, and yeah, they've been on my list for a while, so I'm really excited to get those. So let's go get them. handsome. Yeah, you're so cute, huh? Hi vlog. I have not picked up the camera to talk to it since Saturday. Today is Monday, especially for those in the US. We all know what happened today. They just inaugurated the 47th president of the US, which was such a disappointing thing to watch. It was so, I honestly couldn't even believe it as I was watching it, even though I watched the election and the counting of the votes. Like, it still didn't feel real until today. And I had mentioned this in my first video. I'm in Canada now. I am a US citizen. My husband is Canadian. And he and I have, before we moved here, had talked a lot about our future and what we wanted it to look like. We both decided that we just couldn't stay in America any longer because we knew what was about to happen again. Even though Biden was still in office when we moved, we just kind of saw the writing on the wall, and we knew that we just couldn't stay there anymore. And I understand that I am incredibly privileged to be able to have the option to leave. And I know that there are a lot of people who are devastated today and have no idea what to do or how to feel. And it really sucks. It sucks so much. But just know, for every trans person, every LGBTQIA, every minority, everyone who feels like they're being attacked in the US right now, know that I'm with you and I stand with you. And yes, I had the privilege to be able to leave, but it doesn't mean that it's not real for me. I have all of my friends still live there. All of my family is still in America. And I know that they'll be affected by the things that he's going to do. So, yeah, today is just a really weird and sad day. So, I thought I would just be honest. In this clip, I don't really have the energy to try to do anything more than just sit in my bedroom and just talk to you. So, and I just wanted to kind of say this before we jump into the other parts of the vlog, because I think that it's important, and I want my videos to feel genuine and authentic, and this is how I feel today. So anyways, I guess back to the other stuff. Good morning. Good morning, guys. It is Tuesday and it's like 9:57 right now. Currently I'm working, but I worked a little bit earlier this morning because I had some early morning meetings. I work for an international company, so I do have meetings sometimes from like 8 a.m., sometimes even 7:30 if it's pretty bad. And then my manager is actually in Australia, so sometimes I'll work until like 6:30, just because timing and stuff. But hello, good morning. Yesterday sucked, and it's still sucking today. I'm seeing a lot of the executive orders that are coming out from the president, and they're just horrible. So I thought, why not just forget about it for just a second and talk about books, because those can't hurt me, right? No, books can definitely hurt you, but you know, at least it's better than being in reality sometimes, so whatever. I wanted to talk about what I actually picked up from the library on Saturday. I picked up these 3 manga. I don't know if you guys can see, sorry. It's like the sun is shining, which is absolutely gorgeous, but also I'm like, the lighting is pretty shit. But it's minus 11 Celsius here in Toronto, but it feels like minus 24, which is absolutely insane. My poor husband had to be like completely bundled up to walk to work, and I'm definitely not leaving the house. I have a pot of broth on the stove that's currently going, and maybe I'll show you guys that later. I think I need to go to a different location. Hang on. Okay, I think that's a little bit better. Sorry, it was just so backlit. I was like looking at my hand pointing to something and I was like, that is a ghost hand. I can't do that. So I moved to my library. I'm sorry if I look a mess. Like I said, it's still the morning. I haven't taken a shower yet. I haven't washed my face yet. Yeah, I work from home, so my schedule is pretty whack. So I will definitely wash myself after this video, but I guess TMI, I don't know. It's a vlog. I guess I can say whatever I want to. But anyways, I picked up these 3 manga on Saturday. I can't show you the front because they are a little bit inappropriate. I can try to like maybe hide it with another book. But basically it's like, okay, you can see a little bit. But they are memoir manga. They explore, like the title of the first one is My Lesbian Experience with Loneliness, and then the other 2 is My Solo Exchange Diary Parts 1 and 2. So these, like the first title says, is exploring loneliness. So this woman is 28 and she has never been in love, never been in a relationship, and has never had sex. Can I say sex? Has never had adult time. Does that sound weird? I don't know, whatever. People talk about monster porn on BookTube. I'm not gonna like really censor myself that much. So she is trying to find any kind of connection, and she lives with her parents and she still feels like she's under their thumb, so she's not able to really like grow up and go and find the experiences that she wants. So she actually hires an escort so that she can finally at least have one adult experience and go to a love hotel. And like I said, these are manga, so this is the writer is from Japan. So the culture is going to be incredibly different from Western culture, so you do have to go into that knowing that the culture is different. It's still very frowned upon to go to love hotels and hire an escort, but it is a lot easier, and it's like, it's still taboo, but it's also not uncommon for people to do it. So she goes into that to try to see if she can, you know, understand her sexuality as coming to terms with being a lesbian and being able to finally push forward into connections with other humans. And then the other 2 volumes, My Solo Exchange Diary, are about her experiences after this first book comes out and the success of that, but also her family finding out. And, you know, it was such a vulnerable and open story that she said, and it's all true, that when you're that vulnerable, and also talking about your relationship with your family and your own relationship with your sexuality, can bring a lot of shame to yourself and to your family, especially if you yourself are still uncomfortable with it. So those next 2 explore that, but also explore, you know, she still hasn't had a real connection with somebody without having to pay for it with money. So these other 2 are kind of exploring that, and by the end of it, spoiler alert, if you ever read it, she does dive into the crutch that she uses with alcohol to be able to open up to people. And so I really enjoyed these. I love manga. I love Japanese culture. I used to be such a weeb when I was younger. So this is I also really love memoir graphic novels. So this was completely up my alley. She has 3 more graphic novels that manga that my library has. So I just ordered holds on them. I'm gonna go return these because I devoured these this weekend. And yeah, I did mark these off on my Goodreads goal, or I guess on my Goodreads. I don't use Goodreads anymore. I use Fable. I know they have a huge controversy with their 2024 Wrapped or whatever, but honestly, I really like the app, so I'm just gonna keep using it. I don't know if that's controversial or not. But I did mark these off, so that's 3 books down this year. And honestly, this weekend has kind of made me think maybe I'm not a slow reader. Maybe I'm easily distracted. Because as I go into the next book that I finished this weekend, I did finish Mark of Athena, and now I'm on to House of Hades. And I finished that book fairly quickly for me. I read it within a week, and that was about a 578-page book. It still is YA, so the text is big, you know. There aren't that many words on the page, like you can see here. It's no like Oathbringer by Brandon Sanderson where the pages are huge and the text is super tiny and the margins are basically non-existent. I finished that book super fast, and I was thinking like, wow, maybe I was thinking I was a slow reader because I was just really easily distracted by going on my phone. But on December 25th, on Christmas, I actually completely deleted my Instagram. Like, I no longer have an Instagram account. I completely deleted my account because it was just taking up so much of my time. I wasn't getting anything useful out of it anymore. And it was honestly just starting to really make me feel bad about myself. It was really starting to affect my mental health, and it was a cyclical cycle. It made me feel bad, and when I felt bad, I wanted to escape that feeling. So I would go on the app, and then the app would make me feel bad. So then I would go off of the app, but then to stop making myself feel bad, I would go back on it and repeat. Instead of actually doing real things that would make me feel better. And I couldn't even use the excuse anymore of, you know, keeping up with friends on there or learning new information, new recipes, exercises, stuff like that, funny memes. Because the first one of keeping up with friends, I wasn't even looking at my actual feed. I was only going to Reels. And the reason why I never downloaded a TikTok is because I know myself. I am 100% susceptible to videos. I was such a TV kid. I would be stuck in my room for months just watching TV and movies. Like, I know myself very well to know that I am very susceptible to that. So I never downloaded TikTok. And then Instagram came out with Reels, which is basically the same exact thing. I know that the content is so much better on TikTok, but like, it's the same exact concept where it's unlimited scrolling of, you know, you're just trying to find that new hit of dopamine and maybe the next video, maybe the next video, maybe the next video. And it was, no matter what I try to do, like limiting my screen time, locking my phone, you know, trying to figure out different ways to still try to keep my account, but trying to limit my time on it. Absolutely nothing was working. So all of last year, I really just wanted to get rid of it, and I had made a promise to myself that before 2024 ended, I would delete my account. And I thought, what better gift to give to myself than completely deleted my account on Christmas, you know? It's like a whole gift to myself. So my husband and I actually both deleted our Instagrams. And since then, it's been like, what? Today is the 21st. It's been like 26 days since I've done it, 27, and I feel great. My attention span has come back. I'm reading faster, I'm less easily distracted, I can like focus on things a lot more. I mean, I created this YouTube account, which I have been wanting to do for so long, but I just didn't have the time because I was using my time on my phone over my time of making things that I wanted to make. So yeah, just a little like Instagram wrap, and like I might make like a bigger video about, you know, my journey with it and the reason why I finally, like, what basically was the catalyst of completely deleting it. This weekend just really proved to me, like, oh, you know, maybe I'm not like the slowest reader in the world. Maybe I was just completely distracted. So I don't know, maybe I'll beat my 20 book reading goal this year. We'll see. I've like only ever read over one book in my reading goals, like 21 last year. And that was still kind of a challenge. I had a huge reading slump last year because I was incredibly depressed. So I just didn't feel like reading. So, but now, you know, I'm kind of on a roll. So I'm going to keep going with The House of Hades. I loved Mark of Athena. It's such a good book. It finally like kicks off the real quest, and I said that in the beginning of the vlog, that the first two books are just kind of not my favorite because they're setting up, everyone's separated. Finally in Mark of Athena, people are coming back together, and like now the whole quest crew is on the quest together to, you know, save the world essentially. And you do get a lot of Annabeth in that book. I mean, it's the Mark of Athena. She's the daughter of Athena. It's kind of her book. So you get her perspective a lot, which you have never gotten in the past series. It reminds me how much I love Annabeth. She's just so great. And spoiler alert for those who have not read it. If you don't want to know the spoiler, just skip ahead a little bit. But at the end of the book, when she's being dragged down to Tartarus and Percy tries to save her, and he just knows that she's going to be dragged down, and if she's going to be dragged down, he's going to go down with her. Like, they are so ride or die. There are very few characters that get together when they're kids that I think can actually stay together forever and like don't break up after they become adults. And Percy and Annabeth are one of those characters. They are so meant to be, like, they are true soulmates. I love them so much. Oh, they're just so great. So continuing with The House of Hades, I remember this being one of my favorite books in the series, so I'm so excited to get into it. I had actually almost like started reading a different book, but then that night I went to sleep and I started dreaming about them. About the characters. So that's when you know you just have to keep going and just finish the series, because if you're dreaming about them, then that means that they're like stuck in your head. And yeah, I think that's gonna be it for the vlog. Thanks so much for watching. This was really fun to make. This is the kind of content that I like to watch, and it's kind of the content that I want to make. So yeah, I kind of like these informal videos. Not like any of my other videos would ever be very formal. It truly is just me, my iPhone 11, and a dream. So yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!